Now, I'm willing to discuss this on any basis, you know. In other words, whatever direction you want to come from it, come with it, I'm willing to argue about it. And I don't mean argue like, you're raising your voice. No, I'm talking about debate, discuss. So let me explain something to you. There is an attribute to a group of people that were enslaved, okay, who've accepted the ideology and belief systems of hypocrites. Okay? What do I mean by accept? In reality and totality, black people are the only people that truly believe in religion. Okay? It's fake to everybody else, or it's performative. Even when you go into other cultures, relationship is just part of, religion is just part of who they are because they've been taught it. Okay? The Muslims did that because they were taught, okay, religion is who you are, right? Not relationship with God. Now, I'm not trying to have any theological or seminarian debate. That's not the debate. The debate is, what are the psychological benefits and negative characteristics of a group that accepts another group's under the threat of gun and death, their belief system and their ideology? Okay? And here's the thing about it. You know how I can tell you that black people are the only people that are subject to religious belief systems? Because we're the only people that no one has any empathy, sympathy, or characterization of any odiousness to them at all. They have onus, which means groups are taught to have expectations of black people. They'll forgive you, and that's truly accepting the ideology. If you study the word forgiveness, you'll find out it doesn't even exist as it's exhibited in the world. I don't care what language you study it in. If you don't believe me, I want you to look up everything I said. But I want you to come back, and most of you're not very bright, so you're gonna come back with scriptures. Whether you believe it or not, scriptures come from cultures. Scriptures come from cultures. And can I tell you something? There is no African culture in the Bible at all. So in other words, our voices aren't in there. You can go as far as back as you want to. Okay? There'll always be an answer to the question because religious books have circular reasoning implemented in them. But there truly isn't an answer. It's to direct you where they want you to go. Okay?
Colonized version of American Christianity, because it was all about controlling black and brown people that did not have a voice. And so that control ideal continued because that's what they were given.
Right.
You know, you look at the slave Bible and how certain pages were ripped out just to control people. So historically, we understand that Western religions and Western Christianity have also, unfortunately, been tools of also weaponization.
Now looking back, I know and I appreciate now that when you grow up in a colonial system, or in whichever system you grow up, people who design that system, design in such a way that they will produce a certain kind of people, because they give them a certain kind of information, they expose them to a certain kind of information, and they keep certain kind of information away from them. So you grow up with a certain attitude. You are shaped. Your mind, your attitude, your values are shaped. Your world is shaped. And you are deliberately discouraged to appreciate anything about you because you are not supposed to know or to imagine there was anything good in your pre-British experience. So your people in the pre-British era were primitive, they were backward, they didn't know anything, They did not even know anything about God. Now you know about God, you know about Jesus. You're saying the rosary. Remember, I was saying the rosary. All these things are packaged in such a way that you look at the British and you admire them greatly.
أوروبا اتجاه الأفارقة عندما عاملوهم في البداية كحيوانات واصطادوهم اصطياد، ثم عاملوهم كعبيد، ثم عاملوهم كمستعمرين، استعمروهم واستغلوهم حتى هذا اليوم. فنقدم الحقيقة الاعتذار والأسف لتلك الممارسات.
Are you speaking of the Arab slave trade?
Yes, sir. Yes,
okay,
sir.
okay, without question. Now, the difference between the Arab slave trade and the European slave trade is the Arab slave trade never ended. The Arab slave trade is going on right now, and I would personally fault many African-American Sunni Orthodox Muslim leaders for hiding the Arab slave trade under the umbrella of their religion. One of the reasons I left the masjid, because I was raised Muslim, Sunni Orthodox Islam, one of the reasons I had to abdicate from the masjid is there was too much cultural imitation going on. I'm not an Arab, and black people didn't leave the white man's Christianity to go to the Arab's Islam. Now, Muhammad ibn Abdullah was a blue, black, purple man, just like Jesus, son of Joseph and Mary. You understand? So we don't have to imitate Arabs. But when you don't know who you are, you automatically pick up somebody else's culture. And every religion was incubated in a culture. So Islam was incubated in Arab culture. Although the Arabs of that day were black men who evolved into pale and yellow, still we sucked up the culture more than the religion. And there's a hadith from the Prophet Muhammad who said, give them religion, don't take away their culture. Because he understood that my 23 years of being a prophet cannot compare to 200,000+ years of African culture.
Yeah.
Muhammad was only with you 23 years. Jesus was with you 3. So I'm going to throw out hundreds of thousands of years of African culture for 3 years of Jesus and 23 years of Muhammad? I got to be insane. And my problem with the Muslim brothers and sisters who I love, I'll still go to the masjid and pray. I love them, but I cannot tolerate the Arab cultural imitation. Okay? There's no such thing as Muslim food. Show me Muslim food in the Quran. The Quran does not mention anything about no Muslim food. That's Arab food. See? And you're taking Arab culture and you're putting it in your religion and you're making it divine. And that's why I agree with Dr. Yusuf bin Yaqin, Garveyite scholar, ancestor now, grandmaster teacher, when he said, religion is the deification of culture. Religion is the deification of culture. When Leonardo da Vinci painted The Last Supper in 1482, 10 years before Columbus, that white Jesus, still with us now, still in the black church now, that white Jesus, that pale-skinned, blue-eyed, blonde hair, deified white people in the minds of Africans. It has deified us so much that most black churches will never get rid of that white Jesus, even though they know Jesus wasn't white. I spoke in Fort Lauderdale a couple years ago. There was a fundraiser for the Marcus Garvey Technical School in Kingston, Jamaica. I believe it's in Kingston. But the Marcus Garvey Technical School of Jamaica had a fundraiser and I keynoted, right? I met a brother there from Jamaica. He said, Dr. Umar, let me tell you a story. True story. He said, I belong to a church in Jamaica that has a white Jesus. He said, I went out and got a black artist to paint the most beautiful black Christ you can ever see in your life. I told the pastor, we got a black Jesus now. You can get rid of that. And the black pastor in Jamaica told him that painting will never be hung in here. This is the Jesus that we will serve. When your enemy becomes your deity, when your deity and your enemy are one in the same and you are comfortable with that, you deserve to be a slave.
Yeah.
You deserve to be a slave. I will never worship God in the image of another people. And the irony of it is every religious teacher in ancient time came in our skin. Buddha looked like me. Krishna looked like me. Moses, Muhammad, Jesus, they was all black, but we are so comfortable and content worshiping him in the image of our oppressor. And if you say Jesus should be black,
Christianity and Islam by nature, they are bullies of African culture. It is expressed in their intolerance of other people who believe differently from who they are. So here's a simple example. If a Muslim walks into this village, the first object is to build a mosque and make everyone in that village a Muslim. It changes your timetable of waking up. You wake up at 5, changes your fashion, changes the way you bury your loved ones. Now you must do everything according to Islamic law. The same thing is true with Christianity. Christianity walks into a space, facing the one to do. As a Zulu, as a Xhosa, you take off your shirt and put on your beautiful beads. Hebrew beads, by the way, which are Jewish. You put on your Hebrew gear, which is traditional, and you walk up to church. Christianity will look at you, though now there's a bit of tolerance. But the first glance is unacceptable. Because the God that Christianity has does not have tolerance for culture. Does not. Rather, I would rather take off that thing, put on your shirt, put a tie on you, put a jacket, polish your shoes, and say, now you look nice. Because apparently you must become European first before you can become Christian. In order for God to accept you, he cannot accept you in your authenticity. He needs first to take you through the culture of the dominant culture, which is the colonial culture, before you can actually become an acceptable Christian. An intelligent conversation needs to take place where we say, is everything that we are doing in the Christian church Christian? Or some of the things, norms, and rituals that we are performing are actually European culture, but now they've been couched and packaged as Christianity. The way we sing, for example, the way we dress, for example, the way we eat, for example, the way we celebrate our things, our holidays, our festivals, our Passovers, and etc. Are these things, Easters, are these things biblical? Christmases.
You ruffled a lot of feathers with,
some changes that are cutting
Easter
trees.
issue.
There was no place I went on earth where the people there pointed fingers at me and say, your people did this to me. Never. My grandfather named me Zanu. Zanu means that which belongs to the dark, which means I'm attracted to negative things. And guess what? Name does actually work, kids. I love negative things, meaning that I love things that are not the group think. So that day in the room in France, while the people were going around, I have never faced that question. I don't have the answer. I've never even thought about it.
Right.
So the answer came from their answers. So I'm listening and I was like, oh my God. If I introduce myself, it will be one of them whose parents gave me that name, Frank. I'm a black man from Africa. Here I am hanging with a French name, right? So I will use their grandfathers gave me that name. What is my official language? It's either French or English. They gave it to me. My mode of dressing, they gave it to me. The curriculums that raised me to even be able to be in that room, they gave it to me. The plane ride to that country, their forefathers built it, you understand? So it was hitting me and I said, wow. Then when it came to me, I said it. I said, wow. I have never thought about it. But this is the first time I will say to you, by listening to people, the burden with which they live their lives and grow. This is the first time I will say, I am really proud of my ancestors because they left nothing behind, nothing at all. I've traveled the world as a black man, and I have never seen a black country where the people who live in it are foreigners that were brought there by blacks as slaves, not one single country. Yet the black race has more countries on earth than any other country. 54 are on the continent, 13 black countries in the Caribbean, so 68 black countries. There's not a single black country where slaves were bought from outside by black people. I've traveled the world, not a single country in the world colonized by a black country. There's nowhere you go on Mother Earth where the language they are speaking was imposed on them by force by a black country. I've traveled the world and I have never seen a religion that is imposed upon anybody anywhere in this world by a black country. There are 68 black countries in the world, the largest continent by number of countries. Not a single one of them has a nuclear weapon of mass destruction. black countries across the world, none of them is responsible for what we call the military complex, where we are manufacturing dirty bombs and sending things into the water to pollute people. I've traveled the world and I've yet to see one product that was forced to be sold in another country by a black country. So it means the black race is the only race on earth that represents what the United Nations have been looking for the last 100 years, peace. Yes, we fought internal wars just like anybody, and that is all we did. Therefore, in my travels, there was no place I went on earth where the people there pointed fingers at me and say, your people did this to me. Never. The black person is the only one who travels this earth and no one who pointed a finger. That's what my ancestors left behind. Nothing.
Holy shit. That has to be definitely, I'd say, more powerful than anything any of the other countries have said.
We are the same people. What the differences we see among us is the things of the Europeans that we've adopted in our character. If we dump their adaptations, we're the same. You know, some of us were brought to the Caribbean. We were enslaved there. We fought wars and rebellions there for centuries. Some was brought to North America. We were enslaved here. We fought wars and resistance. Some are in Europe. People never talk about before we were brought to North America to be enslaved. We were taken to Europe and enslaved. They never talk about European enslavement of African peoples, even before the transatlantic slave trade. You understand? And then there were those who went there with the invasion of the Moors into Spain and into France, and who stayed as a part of that population. And then there are those who migrated during colonialism. That's the military genocidal occupation of Africa after the Berlin Conference in 1885 by all of the white armies of Europe, financed by Wall Street. They said, well, America didn't have no army there. No, your army was your money. You paid the others to kill and murder Africans and rob their gold and diamonds and cobalt and other things from them. And so that's why history is important, because it'll clear this shit up real quick. You know? It'll let you see it, real birth. Wherever I've been, in the UK and France and Spain, and I've met another African, we do like the Yoruba term, lukomi. The term means you belong to me and I belong to you. You may speak a different language, you may practice another religion or culture, but we belong to each other. Same thing when I go to Trinidad, or I go to St. Thomas, or I go to Jamaica, or I go to Haiti. We know we belong to each other. We understand the linguistic differences and the cultural differences. And sometimes we use the brainwashing of our European oppressors to use those European differences to divide us. But when we dump the European adaptation from our culture and our behavior, we just one people. When I step off of a plane in Africa, I mean, like, I can't even explain it. The love and the beauty. The beauty, when people realize, because they don't know our history and culture on the continent, most of the people, they don't know about chattel slavery and the transatlantic slavery. They don't know what we suffered and gone through. One day, and we were starting Emancipation Day in Ghana, and we were marching down the street, and I didn't know this could happen, right? These young people from the University of Legon decided they would dress up like enslaved people and be shackled and chained, and they were being beaten with a whip, right? I lost it. This is the first time I know this could happen. One moment I see the girl get hit with the whip and I see the welt come up on the back. And the next thing I know, I got 4 people holding me on the ground because I done beat up the brother that had the whip, right? And, and the minister saying, small, never come. I went there. I went there and didn't know I went there to rescue this woman. And the young people are standing over me saying, oh, Prof, we just wanted you to feel what y'all felt. We wanted to feel what y'all felt. I laid on that ground and cried until they picked me up. And I apologized to the young man that I jumped. And about a week later, Dr. Jeffries, my teacher, and I were riding in the north, and I'll end this. And we get to Kumasi. And the brother, who's our tour guide, showing us around the palace of the Asantehene, the King of Kings. when we get upstairs where he does the lecture, he just broke down and started crying. So we wanted to know, did we do something wrong? No, he had seen on TV the marching and celebration showing chattel slavery. They had never heard of this thing happening to their people. And he's crying. This is a man in his 60s, crying like a baby, saying, we are so sorry. We didn't know this happened to you.
Wow.
Many people in Africa don't know we came from Africa to here because we haven't done the job of educating them or ourselves on the history of the last 500 years. And it is our job, especially here, because we have a greater opportunity and a greater access to the body of knowledge, greater access to technology, let us do the research to help enlighten our brothers and sisters at home while they enlighten us on that history that we missed out on for 500 years.